Just want to tell everybody happy fall. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our virtual Sunday service for Unity Center, DC. My name is John Bell, and I'll be your platform assistant today. Here in the Washington, DC metropolitan area, we are enjoying a beautifully warm, sunny, soft September day. I hope that wherever you are, the sun is shining too. Today, our Zoom hosts are Jan Smoot and Jim Getz. Our speaker today will be our own Rev Karen Gray. She'll be delivering some advice on the topic of manifesting. And as you have heard, our special musical guest today is the talented and personable Wilentz. So welcome to you both. Thank you for being here. Please join me in this moment of silent prayer as I read this adaptation of the prayer of St. Patrick. Christ around me, Christ within me, Christ behind me and before me, Christ beside me, Christ to win me, Christ to comfort and restore, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ in hearts of all who know me, Christ in mouth of friend and stranger, Christ in quiet and in roar. Love, blessed Trinity of three, bound in unity, who guides my journey. I will arise with strength of heaven, trusting in your light to guide my journey. Shine before me, lead me home. Power to guide me, might to hold me, wisdom teach me, watching over me. Ear to hear me, hand to guard me, love to conquer every fear. Amen. And now I extend our welcome to Wayne Wilentz once again for our next bout of special music.
Thank you, John. Going to do something that Karen thought would be appropriate for what she's going to speak about, manifestation. And I think this is one of the most beautiful songs ever written, which I've never done before, in public before today. Not really a style that I do that much, but it works beautifully as a bossa nova, which, as you know, I do all the time. So I tried it as a bossa nova, and guess what, kids? Sounded really good. So I hope you enjoy it. It's from the world's happiest place, right? Isn't that what they call it? You wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. When you wish upon a star, Thank you.
I want to start off with a little story. One day back when I was in my 20s, way back, I was going on a road trip with my friend Bill. And so we stopped at the grocery store, just a day trip, but we needed some snacks, of course. So I headed into the aisles, and my eyes landed on a jar of borscht. And I said, what is borscht anyway? But I wasn't looking for borscht. I didn't know much about borscht, but I knew it was not a car snack. So I just kept on going, and I found the chips and the cookies and got back out in the car. And about an hour later, over the radio, we heard a song all about borscht. And it spelled the word borscht, and it gave the recipe for borscht. And in all the decades since, I've never heard that song again. But on the one day that I wondered out loud about borscht, that's the song, right? The universe heard me, gave me the answer. That moment changed my life. It actually didn't change my life, but it was interesting though, right? I mean, how does that happen? I have other stories, and I know you do too, where you ask a question and the answer shows up, or you think about a person and they call you the next day, or you have an idea and then it just materializes. So different kinds of manifesting. And now there's one kind of manifesting that I know we've all experienced, and I'm just going to get it out of the way right now because we're not focusing on this one. This is the kind where when you go and you buy a new Toyota Camry and then you notice that half the cars on the road are Toyota Camrys. That's different. And there's another one of those, and that was one time my girlfriend Renee and I got together in a restaurant. We just needed to catch up, so we get together at this restaurant, and we have news. She goes, I have some news. I'm going to have a baby. And I said, oh my God, that's fantastic. And then I said, I have some news too. Randall and I are engaged. We're going to get married. And she goes, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So we had our wonderful little visit. And then as we were leaving the restaurant, she looks around and she said, ever since I found out that I'm going to have a baby, everywhere I look, there's just babies everywhere. I see them everywhere. I said, yeah, I know what you mean. Ever since Randall and I got engaged, everywhere I look, there's white guys. I just see white guys everywhere. So this is a different kind of manifestation. This is just heightened awareness. Not all that metaphysical, I don't really think. So like seeing a lot of Toyotas and white guys and babies around, But the song about borscht is different because I asked about borscht one time and I heard that song one time and I've never heard it since. Have you ever heard it? By the way, I looked it up yesterday for the first time. It was actually a song written in 1986, which is about when this would have been. And yeah, it was just as I remembered it. So today, we're going to do something together. We're just going to wonder how it happens because we've all had this experience, this amazing phenomenon of manifestation. Of course, we want to understand it better, and I believe we all have in our possession all that we need to master this great and enriching art. And recently, I started thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, what kind of a spiritual teacher or mother am I if I don't share these things with Dorothy? So Dorothy and I were driving around, and I said, oh, honey, I got to tell you something. Did you know that you can manifest things, that our thoughts and our words have creative power? So I told her a couple stories, and I'm going to tell them to you right now. One of them was when I was first moving out of her dad's house, right, when we were splitting up. This was back in 2012. And I had a lot of feelings about moving out, breaking up the marriage. And we had this little 5-year-old girl. And of course, I really wanted to find somewhere homey. I was really afraid that I was going to move into an apartment and it was going to feel cold. And I thought to myself, I didn't try to figure this out. This thought just came to me. If I find an apartment that is part of a house and an older woman lives there, it'll feel homey. And that is exactly what I found. It was effortless. It's the only place I went to see. Michelle, the landlady, was a retired woman, really cool, really fun, newly renovated home, downtown Silver Spring, furnished in mid-century modern, filtered water throughout the house, solar energy, and she immediately treated Dorothy like one of her granddaughters. Immediately said, you can call me Tutu. That's what my other granddaughters call me. So it really was the soft landing that we needed at that difficult point, and we stayed there about 1.5 years. It was our perfect transitional house. And it was just what I thought of as I embarked on that process of finding our new home. The second story that I told her was the example of my job. I help run a business that offers coaching and training, and I have a lot of years' experience as a coach and as a trainer, and also helping to run and administer a business. And I used to think, if only I could find a job where I could use all these skills and this experience together. And a little over a year ago, this is exactly what I found. It's exactly what I envisioned in my most optimistic mind, except it's actually better. So I marvel at these developments, and Dorothy didn't seem to marvel at all, so I don't even know if she was listening. But how do they happen? I think it's possible to have strong, even unwavering faith, but still wonder, how do these things happen? You might have heard of a book called Ask and It Is Given. So when I hear those words, I'm sure I'm not the only one, I think of Jesus saying, ask and ye shall receive. And Ask and It Is Given is the name of an immensely popular book, just one of many books by Jerry and Esther Hicks, a couple who created an empire out of the wisdom and messages of a channeled master called Abraham. There's lots of talk about the law of attraction, vibration, and the vortex. And during that really hard time when Randall and I first split up, I used to listen to it a lot. In fact, I listened to their presentations so much that I now find her voice kind of triggering. So I can't listen to it anymore, that's for sure. But at the time, I just really needed some encouraging thoughts, and I really needed some results. And I will tell you what, I don't know if I got any, because I really tried the things they said, and I didn't see anything get manifested. However, I'm still here, so I guess it didn't hurt me. And it's really, really popular, so I guess it does work for some people. I just share it because it's really big in the world of manifesting. The teaching is basically, and this is a quote now, in essence, our thoughts and emotions are powerful magnets which attract things of a similar vibration. And that's fine. Lots of teachings and exercises, thought patterns mostly. It's like drill work, getting the right affirmations into your head. And we like affirmations. Unity is big on affirmations. But there are really important distinctions. In all my exposure to the Hicks teachings, I've never seen anything remotely like denials that we use in Unity. So a denial is a statement, it's to deny that a thing has power over us. So I don't know how the Hicks teachings reckon with the fact that we have all these unhealthy thoughts that you kind of got to clear out before you can start affirming all the things you want. And the other thing that I find missing from that teaching, but all kinds of teachings about manifestation, is faith. Because there are all these teachings that say, oh no, if you're getting something that's not what you want, it's because that's where your focus is and you're not focusing clearly enough or hard enough or often enough. And, that's not leaving any room for divine order. Like, just because I have an idea doesn't mean it's the idea that should happen. It's just my best idea. It doesn't mean it's the best idea. So I would turn that power down if I were offered that kind of magic. I want there to be room for better ideas than the ones I come up with. Of course, sometimes we do have great ideas. Sometimes we get a flash of what could be great, and it's clear as sunshine. And Emily Cady says that sometimes when we have a strong desire for something, it is actually God or divine wisdom tapping on our brains. And I don't remember her exact words, but the idea that it's the opposite of us praying to God for something. It's more like God saying, hey, this would be a good idea. What do you think? So maybe it doesn't materialize because we affirmed it. Maybe it occurred to us to affirm it because it was imminent. The other way around. I think Emily Cady is onto something yet again. There are a few ways that manifesting seems to work in my experience. One is sometimes I do really, really focus, and I get very deliberate. So one time, back in the year 2000, I was looking for a new place to live. and I kept coming up empty. Calls to landlords were being unanswered, or I would go and see a place and it was too dark or too small. I was in a $1,400 a month, one-bedroom apartment, and I knew I could bring it down to $1,000, so I was looking for something pretty good. But it wasn't working out. And every time it would occur to me, every time I would leave a place that just wasn't good enough, or every time it would occur to me, that landlord never called me back, I would just say out loud, thanks God for the great place to live. It's going to be an incredible deal. That's what I said. I don't know how many times I said it, but you know what? I got led, practically dragged, to a 2-bedroom townhouse in Tacoma Park that was less than $700 a month. It was fantastic. It was so fantastic that I was sure it was too good to be true, and I was like, nah, no, something's wrong, something's wrong. And then the guy kept calling me, come and check it out. Anyway, it was perfect. I lived there about 4 years. When I moved out, a good friend moved in. It was just wonderful. And then there are times when I just get a beautifully clear idea and I don't do a bunch of laborious repetitions, like the truth that Dorothy and I would do well to live in a house with a lady who lived there and was kind of like a family, setting up a home. And that happened, right? We got into that perfect house in Silver Spring. And then there are times when I don't even realize that I'm putting out manifesting energy, like the borscht story. I didn't pass by that jar of borscht and say, what is borscht? What is borscht? If I'd really wanted to know, I would have looked at the label. But I just kept on going, and the universe heard me because the universe is listening. And let that be a warning to me. The universe is listening. A couple of weeks ago, Dorothy and I were driving through a neighborhood. It was a perfectly nice neighborhood, but it was a neighborhood that has a lot of tall buildings. And her favorite kind of question to ask me these days is, would you want to live in a place like this? Would you want to live in a place like this? And right now we live in a place where I'm on the ground floor and I have a patio facing the woods and I can see all my neighbors' patios and balconies and I love it. And so I said, I would not live in this neighborhood, no. And then I caught myself and I said, whoops, the universe will hear me and I'll end up living here. I take it back. And she said, but wait, don't you manifest? Isn't that supposed to be a good thing? So now I know. The universe is listening, and so is Dorothy. And so I explained to her, yeah, it's what you focus on. The universe picks up where your thoughts are, where you put your energy. And you know what Emmett Fox said, as many have said, you don't put really harsh energy, really strong energy to resistance because that just gives more power to the thing you're trying to resist. So he said about denials, issue them as though you are sweeping away cobwebs. Right? Don't give a lot of strength to, I will not live in this neighborhood. You just say, this neighborhood is not the right place for me. And then you say, this illness is not of God and therefore it has no power over me. Or you say, this apparent lack is an illusion and does not destroy my peace of mind. And then you carry on with your affirmations. That's how you clear out energy, gently, gently. But then, there are those times when I have a thought, a desire, a plan, and a practice, and I put it all together, and I affirm, and I meditate, and I pray, and I put the power of my intention, and nothing happens. I don't get it. What is up with that? Sometimes my methods don't work. So I have at least two explanations. One is that you can't just affirm. You have to take the right actions. As Reverend Jim Webb says, you can meditate on winning the lottery. You can affirm picking just the right numbers. You can visualize the numbers adding up in your bank account. But you also have to buy the ticket. Spiritual work alone won't get you there. And then the second really important explanation, when I don't get something that I wanted and I've worked the practice, divine order. Maybe my idea wasn't the best idea. Like there was this time when I affirmed the hell out of a job I really wanted, a job that I thought I needed, and I didn't get it. And I was distraught because it was so perfect. But now I know. I needed to not get that job because instead I got the next job, and it was from that job that I got laid off early in the pandemic, which is what put me in the right spot to find the job that I'm in right now, which is the perfect job. I think about it a lot. I think, thank God I didn't get that job I wanted so much. It's also a little bit like cooking. Sometimes I put together a recipe and it doesn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And I don't then conclude cooking doesn't work. I know some people are really good at it. And I know sometimes my cooking gets really good results. Jan loves my curry chicken salad, for instance. And I make a really good turkey sausage and fennel soup. Cooking definitely works. So do affirmations and manifestation. I just don't always know exactly what I'm going to get, but it's good to keep on trying. And I really try not to take my failures or my successes personally or even too seriously. Whatever will be, will be. We just do what we can. The connection between our thoughts and our experience is pure unity, absolutely foundational for us, so we're all comfortable talking about it. But it's not just us. Like all good truth teachings, it is kind of universal. It just shows up with different language. So back in 1937, Napoleon Hill published, can you see? Think and Grow Rich. Multi, bestseller. And he says he breaks it all down into concrete steps. 1937, people had gone through some tough times. He says on page 7, riches cannot always be measured in money. But then the whole rest of the book is all about money. And he says this, he says, there is one quality which one must possess, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to possess it. True. 2 important principles: clarity, desire. Gotta have them. Okay, so listen. Then, recently I found this other book. The author's name is Pam Grout. Look at her book. Think and Go Rich. Grow. Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you can see it. It's not as clear. How about that? Instead of think, it's thank. It is so unity. It is right up our alley. I'm sure the book is good. It's got a lot of exercises and stuff, but mostly I just love the title. I buy a lot of books just because I love the title. So clearly there are some really important key principles at work when we talk about manifesting. Very important. Gratitude, purpose, passion, clarity, persistence. But what does it mean that the universe will do its part? At the beginning of my talk, I said that I wanted us to wonder about how manifestation works. But actually, I think I figured it out. The reason manifestation works, the reason we can conjure something in our minds and then have it in our experience is this. There is just one presence. Unity basic principle number 1. There is one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God, the good omnipotence. There is actually no space between me and my desires. We are one and the same. There's no separation between my thoughts and my outcomes. There's only one presence, so of course it's all connected. I think this is true for you. I know this is true for me, that we have to really focus for this to come together. I really do. Like, we say there's only one presence and one power. We accept that there is only one presence and one power, and we don't always experience that there's only one presence and one power. We experience separateness. And then we remember that God is all there is, and we are a part of that. We experience loss, and then we remember the principle. We experience hopelessness, And then we remember the truth that God is within us and we are within God. Separation through space and time. Illusion. Stubborn illusion. But only illusion. And so what this means about manifestation is, why shouldn't I have a thought that then immediately shows up in my material surroundings? That thought was God tapping on my consciousness. What did Einstein say? Einstein said something like, your imagination is a preview of events to come, something like that. Yeah, it's not even a cause and effect. It's what I'm calling existential proximity, the idea and the thing. They go together. Why shouldn't my clear and positive affirmations yield visible, tangible results? Do you remember the work of Masaru Emoto? Dun, da, da, da. There's one of his books. This one is called Love Thyself. This is the guy who took magnified photos of water particles, water crystals. And he experimented with how different words and different sounds would influence the formation of these crystals. He experimented with words, sometimes playing words, sometimes just writing words and taping it, onto a container of water, and then examining up close. When words like love or neighbor or prosperity were taped on the outside of these containers, and he did it with scores of different words. Those images are beautiful, like snowflakes. He said that he was asking questions of the water, offering these words and sounds and getting the water's responses. And Jan, will you please put up the slide, the first slide? And you'll see the differences when there was something that was loving versus something that was fearful or angry. How beautiful those first crystals are. And then the other ones, to tell you the honest truth, I feel kind of bad about even showing you those because they're so disturbing. And so I didn't want to end with that. So Jan, will you put up the next slide, please? Yes, there it is, beautiful. Yeah, they're like beautiful, intricate snowflakes. They're masterpieces of nature. So there are at least, and Jan, you can pull it down. Thank you. So at least two big implications here. One is that words in and of themselves have power, both creative and destructive. And then secondly, since our bodies are mostly water, words and sounds we're exposed to have an impact on us. I mean, even changing our structure. Words are binding. That's why in our usual unity song that we don't do anymore since we're remote, but, take charge of what you're saying, right? Because our words have power. This is why Jesus says in the 5th chapter of Matthew, when he's talking about oaths, I don't hear this bit of scripture talked about enough, but it really means a lot to me. When he says, don't swear on anything, don't take an oath, just say yes or no. Because if you mean what you say, you shouldn't be having to say, well, okay, this time I'm taking an oath because I really mean it. No, he's saying just say what you mean. Because when we utter a word, it is now with us. It is bound to us. James 5:12 also, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no. The word once uttered is out there. It is now attached to us. It is part of our experience. It has its presence in the world. It is part of the one presence that makes up our experience. It's not even cause and effect, right? It's together. Thought, reality, they coexist. Word, experience, they coexist. Like when I pick up my arm, it doesn't surprise you that my hand comes up too, because they're connected. It's not surprising that where one goes, the other goes. And I invite you, and I'm really working on this, just keep thinking in terms of that connection when we think about manifesting. It is not magic. It's the presence. It's all connected. Remember what I was saying about cooking. We don't need to feel discouraged or doubtful when it doesn't work out. Divine order, baby, right? We just got to keep doing it. 4 things. Know that you are one with the presence. Strive for clarity of purpose. Give thanks. And affirm the presence. And I am so glad that we have a meditation after the message, because I know that words are insufficient at conveying the presence. And what we really need is practice. So please be comfortable. Take a nice, nourishing breath. Be generous with yourself. Find peace. Close your eyes. Look within your heart and find peace. At least a single spark of peace or confidence, or even just a willingness for all to be well. Know that you're one with your community. Know that you are one with Spirit. Know that you are inextricably one with the One Presence. And bring to your mind something that you desire. And sit with this message. Ask and you shall receive. Now conjure an awareness of this thing or condition you desire. Get clear on it. Get clearer. Bring it really close to you and allow yourself to feel gratitude as though it's already achieved. The idea and the reality coexist. Remember when Jesus brought Lazarus from the dead, he went to the tomb and he said, "Thank you, God, for hearing me. I know you always hear me." He said that before Lazarus walked out of the tomb. He didn't wait for the evidence. He just said thanks. So know that God hears you. Know that Spirit hears you. Know that you are one in harmony, in perfect harmony. In the same way that every wave on the beach is a part of the one ocean, distinct but not separate. That's you. Know that you are heard. Feel gratitude for that or something better. Don't tie God's hands. Feel that gratitude. Feel that blessedness of being one with all that is. Always. Lock that feeling down. Know and rejoice that you can come back to it at any time. Find peace, find comfort, find assurance in that divine connection. And know that when you open your eyes, the light shines from your eyes to connect with one another as you lay eyes on one another. It just strengthens that connection. We are all part of the one. So we can now leave this moment of meditation, come back to our moment of community. And know that you have this power, this connection. It is always yours at all times. And you, now that I've got my Zoom screen up and I'm looking at you, You are exactly the community that I affirmed for today, and I got it. So you're lovely. I love you. So come back to the room, please.
You know what to do. I've got just about everything I need to make this life I lead an enjoyable thing. I've got robins and roses and bluebirds and posies, all kinds of flowers that bloom, all kinds of birds that sing. I've got just about everything I want to make this earth I walk a miraculous place. I've got fresh air and sunshine and mountains and May wine and what is really a boon. I like the human race. Well, I've got just about everything. Well, I must admit one thing I need is lacking. I'm not complaining with or without it. I still got what I've got. But you could better my lot with some of your hugging and kissing. That's what I'm missing. I could go on just as I am year after year, but with one thing more I know I'd reach the divine. That's to have you and hold you. Now that I've told you, please make a positive sign. Say that you'll be mine and I'll have everything my heart and soul can sing, and I can say I've got everything I need. Well, I've got just about everything. And from that look you gave, I'm gonna get what's missing. Hot diggy diggy, I feel so wiggy, I could fly to the moon. Compose a beautiful tune and tell you how much I adore you, and I implore you, just say those words that I long to hear you say, and my life will be complete and full to the top. And I'll share all my treasures, my riches and pleasures, making the two of us one. That's all that need be done, and I'll have everything my heart and soul can sing, and I can say I've got everything I need.
Truer words were never spoken or sung. Thank you, Wayne, and thank you, Karen, for that beautiful synthesis and a good reminder. We are grateful for both of you. I'm going to now lead us in a closing prayer. I came across this prayer last week, and it just struck me because it was one of the shortest prayers I've ever seen, but also one of the most elegantly worded. So let me read it for you now, and let's all pray together. May God be between you and all the dark places where you must walk. Amen.